Hello stars, this is Mr. Yusuf again, and in this video we're gonna study Black Beauty. We finished chapter 4, which is the first one this semester. We have two remaining. Let's start with chapter 5. Uh, we know from the previous chapter that Black Beauty was sold again to a person who paid 24 pounds. This person is called Jerry, and his wife called Polly. They had two children, Harry and Dolly. So they were very nice, very kind. They lived in London, and they were very gentle and kind to Black Beauty. Jerry worked as a taxi driver, not like a taxi, like he has a car. No, this is in the past. So he has a carriage, and the carriage is pulled by horses. So he had two horses, Black Beauty, and there was another one called Captain. Captain had the morning shift, and Black Beauty had the afternoon shift. This is a piece of evidence on how Jerry was kind to the horses. He had two horses, one for each shift. So he wants the horses to rest every day. Jerry was not only very kind, he was also a very good driver, which made Black Beauty relaxed. Of course, Black Beauty was worried. Why was he worried? Because there was so much noise in London, so many people. It was difficult to find his way between all the other carriages. But of course, he trusted Jerry, so that's why he stopped worrying. Of course, Jerry was very kind. He was a very good driver. He treated him very well. He even received compliments about Black Beauty. One of his colleagues, one of the taxi drivers, called Black Beauty a handsome horse. Mr. Grant, who is the owner of the taxi business, he has a lot of carriages and horses, and he hires drivers to rent those carriages and horses every day. He also said that he's a very good horse. So Black Beauty was very relaxed. He was very happy. He ate good food, fresh water. He was treated very nice, taken care of, not only by Jerry, but also his family. Harry also helped to look after me, after Black Beauty. Polly, his wife, and Dolly, his daughter, came to see Black Beauty. So Jerry was the best owner I've had. So Jerry, this is a very honest statement. Jerry was the best owner Black Beauty had. The problem is, as taxi drivers, they face a lot of problems. For example, rude passengers. That's a very common example of a taxi driver's job. You can have rude passengers. Uh, you can also have passengers who are in a hurry, like this one. One day, two young men came out of a hotel and called him over. Hey, taxi driver, we are late for our train. So they were trying to catch a train, and they told him that they would give him an extra pound if he drove them to catch the 1 o'clock train. So they want him to drive as quickly as possible. So Jerry said, no, we're gonna drive at our usual speed. So Jerry, that's another piece of evidence how Jerry was very kind to Black Beauty. Of course, another taxi driver heard this conversation and called the passengers and told them that he's gonna go faster than Jerry, so they went there. Jerry said to himself, I must always think about my horse. This shows kindness. A pound won't help if it makes my horse too tired to take other passengers for the rest of the day. So he always thinks for the best of his horse. He wishes the best, and he takes care of his horses. He didn't, like, with the light pull of reins, he even lightly pulled the reins so that the horse cannot experience any pain. So he was very, very nice. Black Beauty felt safe. Uh, so Jerry was the best owner Black Beauty has ever had. Holidays were not common for taxi drivers. You know, as a taxi driver, sometimes you have a lot of passengers, sometimes you don't have a lot of passengers. So Black Beauty felt sorry for the horses and the drivers who have to work long hours to get enough money, especially those who rent the horses and the carriages, not who owns the carriages and the horses. And there was an amazing thing that happened. He saw Ginger. Black Beauty saw Ginger. He saw a very thin horse and a very old horse. She had sad eyes, which looked at me curvely. Ginger recognized Black Beauty. Black Beauty, she said quietly, and then coughed. It was Ginger. Ginger was sold to a wealthy man. Of course, the last time they've seen each other was at Airchild Park. Black Beauty was sold, and Ginger was sold to another person who is a wealthy man. Of course, Ginger was very tired, had bad knees, and she had many owners, each one paying little less money for her because she's not as good as she used to be in the past after the accident they had. So she told Black Beauty that she was bought by a man who has many horses and hires them to men who need them for taxi carriages. She continued, but I'm not strong enough for this work, and the men hit me hard when they want me. So the owners hit Ginger because she looked very thin. She didn't have a lot of energy, so she couldn't work for long hours. Black Beauty reminded her that she usually kicks people who aren't good to her, but Ginger responded that she was not strong enough to face them. She was not strong enough to kick again because life has been difficult for her. And this was the last time Black Beauty sees Ginger. I never saw poor Ginger again. One day, uh, Jerry saw a poor woman in the street. She was holding her son. Her son was sick and she needed to go to the hospital. Jerry offered her a ride and he told her that she doesn't have to pay, which is another piece of evidence that shows that Jerry is a kind man and he has a very big heart. But the problem is two rude passengers jumped up, jumped up in front of her and quickly got into the taxi before the woman could even get into the taxi and told Jerry to take them to Regent Street. Jerry told him, "You can rest as you like, and I'm not going anywhere." So they got angry. They got outside the taxi, and then the woman got into the taxi, which showed Jerry that he cares about his customers because this woman was, she called Jerry first. So Jerry looked at the men and said, "You can stay in the taxi as long as you want. I can wait while you rest yourselves." And then he turned to the poor woman and said, "Don't worry, they'll soon be gone." Jerry was right. Soon the men angrily got out of the taxi and then he helped the woman to go to the hospital. Uh, when they left the woman and her son at the hospital, as they were leaving, they saw a wealthy looking woman. This is the woman. She looks rich. She knows Jerry. "Jerry Parker, is it you? I'm pleased to find you here because it's difficult to find a taxi in this part of London." So this woman is a very kind woman. She is very wealthy and she knows Jerry Parker. She knows Jerry Parker. This is the end of chapter 5. Chapter 6. Jerry, of course, knew the woman. Her name is Fowler. So Mrs. Fowler was always very kind. She told him that she can always find work for him because she knows that he is a good driver. Winter came. Now we are in the winter, and uh, of course, there's no holiday for taxi drivers. They always work. Jerry had a rude passenger who was a rich man. They waited outside his house, waiting for him for more than 1 hour. He didn't even apologize when he showed up, and he was mad that he had to give Jerry money because he stayed. He waited for him, so he had to take like waiting fee. Uh, After this, they arrived home. It was very cold, and Jerry became sick. He coughed like in winter. He became sick. He coughed all the time. Of course, he was very ill, and uh, he couldn't work as a taxi driver until he recovers. But the recovery was very slow. They called the doctor. The doctor told him not to drive taxis anymore if he wanted to stay healthy. So the doctors warned him not to work as a taxi driver because this is dangerous for his health. So Polly, his wife, wrote to Mrs. Fowler. Mrs. Fowler told him that she can find a job for him. So Mrs. Fowler wanted Jerry to work for her. She received the letter and then she replied back and said that she wanted Jerry to work for her and his family can move to a small cottage. Cottage is like a small house in the countryside. A very small house in the countryside. Small break and then we're gonna come back. Okay, we're back. Let's continue to chapter 6. So they moved in this small cottage near Mrs. Fowler's house, and he worked for her. The problem is Black Beauty felt that he would sell him because Jerry couldn't work as a taxi driver anymore, so he could only work like indoors, not outdoors, because he's sick. So he felt that he was going to be sold, and that what really happened. He was sold to another taxi driver called Skinner. This was the man who made Ginger so weak and sad. He was a very bad driver and a cruel man. He made Black Beauty work for 7 days a week, no rest. Black Beauty has never had a good rest. So this was very, very exhausting, and Black Beauty's condition got worse, and he became weak. We waited outside the station for a train to arrive. He was waiting for passengers. A family of 4 with their luggage asked Skinner to take them home. Luggage means the bags, all the bags, and 4 family members inside a carriage pulled by one horse. That was very difficult. It was very, very difficult, and Black Beauty was not the same anymore. The daughter of the passenger, peered at me. Peered means when you look closely and curiously, like observing something. She said that this is a poor horse. He can't carry us all, and plus all our bags. That's too much for him. He looks very weak. Of course, Skinner didn't care. He said, "Don't worry about him." He didn't care. So can you compare between Skinner and Jerry Barker? Of course, there was a big difference. Jerry Barker was someone who was kind and he was very generous. He looked after Black Beauty and gave her nice food and fresh water. But Skinner, he didn't care. He made Black Beauty work for 7 days a week. That was too much. Of course, Black Beauty couldn't pull the carriage, and when he was about to pull the carriage up a hill, which is very difficult, especially if there are 4 people in a carriage, plus the driver, plus the bags. So he couldn't breathe. He suddenly fell onto the ground, and he felt that he was going to die. So Black Beauty, he like fainted. Someone gave him water, and then he was given food. Of course, he had no energy, so Skinner decided to sell him. So he went to another market for horses outside London, and he was put among the old, ill-looking horses. The people who looked at him were very poor and wanted to buy a horse for as little money as possible. Luckily, there was a farmer and his grandson, and they didn't look poor. The boy liked the horse. He said that Black Beauty looks kind of intelligent. The farmer said that he looks old and he lacks energy. We want someone who's young. But the man who was selling Black Beauty told him that he just needs some rest and he's going to be an excellent horse. So the farmer agreed to buy him. And his grandson was delighted. Delighted means extremely happy. The farmer, the new owner, who bought a Black Beauty, his name is Thorogood, Mr. Thorogood. He took me to a large field and I was given good food every day. And the grandson, his name is Willie, looked after him. So now Black Beauty has another owner, Thorogood, and his grandson Willie, and they look, they seem like nice people. Black Beauty felt strong again. Why? Because he had the rest needed, the needed rest that made him strong again. Of course, the farmer, Mr. Thorogood, said that he is a very good horse and not old at all, but he looked old because he had no energy. The old farmer took Black Beauty to the home of Miss Bloomfield. She lived with her sisters because she needed a new horse. Of course, she didn't like him at first. She said, "Look at his knees. He looks old. He doesn't look very well." But the farmer assured her that he is the best horse. He just had a difficult past, and she should try him. And then Miss Bloomfield kept the horse, and in the morning, a young man came to Miss Bloomfield, to Miss Bloomfield's house, and he saw Black Beauty and recognized Black Beauty. He has a white foot and a white star on his forehead. Forehead is the area between your eyes and your hair. It's like the upper area. He looks like Black Beauty. Josh, I think it's Black Beauty. Do you remember me? I'm Joe. Do you remember Joe from the first semester? He was the boy who used to work and look after Black Beauty. So Black Beauty, of course, she didn't recognize him because he is now a tall, strong man. She only remembered Joe, the boy. So Joe said that they should keep Black Beauty. Joe told the woman that the Black Beauty was once Squire Gordon's favorite horse. Now Joe took him and started to look after him. He lived in a happy place. Now Black Beauty feels strong again and healthy again. So here my story ends. My troubles are over. So that's Black Beauty. Thank you and bye.